Hello coaches, welcome back to another Modern Soccer Coach Breakdown. Today we're going to talk about a system that has continued to evolve and develop and grow and still be consistent and still be effective over the years. 442, the Diamond. We just announced this week that we're going to have a full webinar on the 442 Diamond, on the detail of it, coaching it, some build-up principles, some press and shapes, all about the 442 Diamond. So if you're interested in finding more and you like this video, please join us on June 20th. The link is below to reserve your spot. Today we're going to talk about the advantages of the system. We're going to talk about 3 advantages, and again we'll go into detail about how to coach the system during the webinar. So what are the advantages of a Diamond 442? Why should you look to play it? If you enjoy this, as always, please give it a like and a subscribe below. Here we go, 442 Diamond. So you only have to look at the Diamond to see some of the positives. You have the overload in the central areas, you have 2 up front, you have maximum width in order to build. But let's look at 3 tactical advantages that you can create at different parts of the pitch with the aid of the Diamond. And the first is in the build-up. And I think a huge advantage of a Diamond is the angles of support. So when you're building and you have that single 6 and the 2 fullbacks wide, you have an initial Diamond, then you have triangles and relationships all over the field and pass connections. That map looks really, really good. But what does it mean? Well, this is an advantage of what this gives you. This gives you a lot of options whenever you're getting pressed. So in order to build up against different systems, you're not limited to just one way to build out. There are a number of different ways to do it. Why is that an advantage? Because as you play against different systems, your principles must be consistent and starting positions can then be a little bit different in order to give players the solutions to beat that. 442 Diamond does that really, really well. A really big advantage are those connections, are those relationships, and those passing lanes that open up. Huge advantage. The second advantage is when you start to progress that ball, and let's just say you're playing against a 4-3-3. So you've beat the number 9 with your 2v1 overload with your 2 centre backs. Now the questions are about this numerical advantage. What's the opposition going to do? So if the 2 wide players come in a little bit for the opposition, then that opens up the space for your fullbacks to get high and potentially get further forward and get into the final third. If those 2 wide players decide to stay out, then what that does is that also opens up passing lanes into your front players. And then what's really, really interesting with that system is because there are 2 front players, the 2 centre backs in the opposition have to be very careful with their angles of support. That can open up more space for a number 10 to come in or for midfielders to drop in, and then angles of support for your players to get runners forward and again to create goal scoring opportunities. Using that numerical overload centrally to ask questions of the opposition and then take advantage of what they're giving you. And then the final advantage in possession of the system, we're going to have way more of these in the webinar, but this is just to give you a little look about the webinar, which you can register for below. The final advantage we're going to look at is higher up in the build. So when the opposition have dropped, maybe they've come into a 4-2-3-1 type of shape, what we're going to do now is look at what we can do with the Diamond to unlock the spaces there. So you can again push your fullbacks higher and push your number 10 in between as well, which creates 5 players, 1 in every vertical channel, to occupy 4 defenders. So the opponents again will have to adjust and adapt here. Likely they will drop a player back, which means they will have to rotate or shift to try and deal with that central overload again. That will mean that there are spaces that midfielders can access and get into and potentially look forward. And if your combination play is really good up front, you can unlock that and create a chance on goal. So there you have it, coaches. Just some quick ideas about why you may look at playing a Diamond 442 system. In the webinar, we're going to look at training ideas, we're going to look at player profiles, we're going to look at a number of different ways to build up and a number of different ways to press. Why we're going to look at different ways and not just create a single template of do this, do that, 442 is because we've spoke about in the video today, the opposition are going to react. the opposition are also going to try to ask questions of the shape as well. So I think it's important that you always are ready with different adaptations, and we're going to try and help create some ideas with those little adaptations, with those solutions, with those changes, to make sure the system is as flexible as possible to work on another training pitch and then take it into a match. So hope you can join us June 20th. If you watch this and the webinar is over, it will be available for a replay. If you can't miss the live event, please just register and you will get a copy of the replay as well. modernsoccercoach.com/shop. The link is below. I hope to see you on June 20th. But before you go, please give it a like and a subscribe. Thanks so much for the support. I will see you next week. Goodbye.